Good morning. It's so bright I can't see the screen here. I'm Councillor Glen, and today I am at Ralphpark on Ralphpark Street. Ralphpark is 2 words. Ralphpark Street is 1 word. And I'm here at one of our many community rinks. Like all of our community rinks in the parks in Stittsville, they are all run by volunteers. So thank you very much to all of the volunteers who come out in the cold weather, flood the rinks, keep them in good shape. This rink looks pretty good, and there's even a smaller rink over to the side in the baseball diamond. So a couple rinks that you can practice on. I wanted to come here to remind you again about the outdoor physical activity, physical distancing rules. We definitely would like to encourage people to get some exercise, but when you are at a rink, please limit it to 25 people, and there's no team sports allowed like hockey. If you're at a toboggan hill, same thing, 25 people maximum. We do have a bylaw, and we do have some park ambassadors that are going around the various parks to remind people about the rules, but it's really about families and parents taking responsibility for their own actions, and please respecting that 25-person limit. And if you are in that group, also wearing a mask and making sure you're staying 2 meters away from people outside your household. And that's one of the ways that we can keep the COVID transmission rates as low as possible. I'll talk a bit about COVID later. I had some reminders and so on today. First, related to being outside, there are a number of construction sites around Stittsville, lots of new developments. There was an incident last week at one of the construction sites. There's a hill with some construction debris, and there was a child who was hurt pretty badly. There is some fencing that's going up there, I believe, this weekend, and some reminders about people not to play in construction sites. But remind your kids, if you're watching this, remind your kids to be careful, know where your kids are at, and make sure they play at the park and not at a construction site. And we can all stay safe. We've had some concerns, some calls about coyotes. Somebody told me yesterday that this is coyote mating season, so they're out and about. Coyotes usually do not pose a danger to people. We have some tips on my website. If you go to glengower.ca and search for coyotes, you'll see some information there. If a coyote is acting aggressively, which is a coyote that doesn't back away, start making some noise, or continues to pursue you, that's when you can call 911, and police will help respond to that. What else? Local businesses. We are midway through the shutdown period in Ontario, and our local businesses have been closed down. Restaurants, gyms, hair salons, small retailers. It's incredibly important that we get out and support our local businesses whenever you can with things like curbside pickup. If you can do that, order from a local business before you order from a larger national retailer. Businesses in our community are really hurting, so please do whatever you can to support them. Maybe do a takeout night tonight on the weekend from a Stittsville restaurant. And we all hope that they'll be able to reopen in a safe way in the coming weeks. On COVID, I think the big news everybody's talking about, sorry, I'm just making sure my battery hasn't died. My phone tends to run out of battery very quickly when it's minus 17. There's a quote that Dr. Etches said on CBC Radio the other morning. She said, "Schools are the essential work of children." Schools are the essential work of children. What a great way to frame that conversation. I'm very glad to see the province will be sending back Ottawa's school kids on Monday to in-class. We are just seeing that the harms caused by kids being out of school are outweighing whatever reason there was to keep them out of school. In the fall, we had higher transmission rates than we're seeing now, and we did not see schools as a significant source of transmission. There was contact tracing, and there were some classroom closures and school closures where necessary, but by and large, the return to school back in the fall was very controlled, and we did not see it as a significant source of COVID-19 transmission. The COVID is coming from the community themselves. I did post some comments on my website yesterday from Dr. Vera Etches. She gave an update on Tuesday about COVID and vaccines and everything else, so I encourage you to check that out. On vaccines, we've had a lot of questions from older adults in our community who still live at home, and they're wondering when will they get a vaccine. That's part of phase 2, so older adults are part of a priority population, and what you'll probably see is something like adults over 80 will be one of the groups offered vaccines the earliest. It's probably coming in March. It all depends on the vaccine supply from the federal and provincial governments. But once we do have that, we're going to be rolling out community clinics like we do for the flu shot. It'll be available at pharmacies. It'll be available from your doctor. There's no sign up yet, and there's no timeline or date or information yet, but that will be coming, and I'll tell you about it here in my video. I'll put it in my email newsletter, social media, my website as well, once we have more information. But we need those vaccines, and we can roll out very, very quickly and starting first with priority population groups and then moving on to the general public. And what they're talking about now is that the vaccine will be widely available and many people vaccinated in July, August right now. I think that's all I wanted to say about COVID. Some local things on planning very quickly here. First of all, if you live near Hazeldean Crossings, that's the new development at Victor Street and Hazeldean where that old gas station is. They're going to be starting construction next week, and I posted on Facebook and on Twitter the construction details, the construction schedule, what's happening in February and March. So if you're a neighbor there, you should check that out. This Thursday, February 4th, we're doing a public meeting about 521 Brigantine. This is the last phase of Matamy's Fairwinds development on the site of the old stormwater pond on Brigantine Road. You can attend via Zoom. On February 10th, we're doing a meeting about 1518 Stittsville Main Street. That's the station right next to the Trans-Canada Trail and across from Quitters. You might have seen some of the renderings of that. It's had a very positive response so far. So we're going to do an information meeting with the proponent, with the developer and the architect. That's on February 10th. We posted 2 new development applications this week. One is kind of a revision of an existing one, the No Frills Plaza at Hazeldean and Iber. The owner, Huntington, is proposing some small changes to the layout of the retail plaza there. And then there's a new plan of subdivision for 5725 Fernbank Road. That's near Robert Grant, one of the last pieces in the Fernbank area that needs to go to the plan of subdivision. Plan of subdivision is where they take the big piece of land and they break it up into blocks for homes or for roads or parks or schools or businesses. So that information's at the top of my website as well. Let's see, I still have batteries, so I can give you one more reminder. This week was Bell Let's Talk Day, and a lot of people talking about mental health, and mental health is very top of mind for me and for everybody during this COVID-19 pandemic. We are seeing more and more signals and data about what impact this is having on mental health. We're seeing more calls to youth helplines. We're seeing higher demand for psychology and other mental health counseling services. So we know this this COVID-19, besides COVID, there's also a mental health pandemic happening right now. I wanted to let you know about something called Counseling Connect. It's counselingconnect.org, or you can Google Counseling Connect. It's a free service offered here in Ottawa that'll connect you with counseling services. You can often book an appointment the next day with a trained professional. It's completely free. It can be something for adults, for youth, and check that out if you're looking for someone to talk to or looking for a resource for help. And there's also, of course, a number of resources on the ottawapublichealth.ca website. So I'll leave it there. It's a super bright, super cold day. Maybe you'll get out skating or cross-country skiing or out for a walk with the dog. Whatever it is you do to stay healthy and stay active and get some fresh air. Hope we get a chance to do that this weekend. I will talk to you next time. Take care. Bye. How do I turn this off? There it is. Finish.